Injury happened at the first week of the season, so it was so close for me to see. I was about to break the school record, and I would have won our conference that year. So to have it like taken away right when I was about to have it and never get to see the hard work pay off, obviously is devastating.
If you have had to start over this journey after retirement, what the things would you change?
That's a good question. I think...
What is your biggest fear you faced after retiring from your sport?
Yeah, off the top of my head, definitely finding purpose in daily life was my biggest fear. Because at the point of retirement, I felt like I had a general idea of what I wanted to do, which was mental health in sport, but with how busy I was, post or pre-retirement with sport and school and all those things, I had no idea how I was going to structure my time after leaving. How was I going to continue to work out? How was I going to structure my days in terms of applying for grad school, finding a job, applying for those jobs, being home and not being surrounded by my friends every day. So yeah, that was a big fear of mine, is just being able to find consistency and structure my day, and feel like I'm using my days in a way that's meaningful and purposeful, without having so much structure and someone else telling me how to structure my days.
Okay. So in order to understand why you face this fear, tell us about a little bit of your background as an athlete. For the audience, maybe they can understand why you face this fear.
Yeah. Was an athlete my whole life. It was a huge part of my childhood and just my family as well. My parents were college athletes. I have two brothers. My older brother, also an athlete. A lot of what we did all together was go to sports events and those sort of things. And since I was, I think in kindergarten, I wrote on my what do you want to be when you grow up posters, I want to go to the Olympics, or I want to be an athlete. That's all I really ever wanted. So doing sports in college was definitely the bare minimum, the least I can do to continue my journey. And I wanted to be the best I possibly could, and really poured all my energy into that endeavor, and didn't realize how much I relied on my sport for validation and for confidence. And so when I went to college and started doing javelin, which extremely technical, it's very easy to get wrapped up in spending so much time on that because there's so many different things that's required for that event. I just pushed and pushed and pushed and kind of neglected the other things, neglected balance and rest, and my body could not hold up and could not sustain how much pressure I was putting on my sport. And then I ended up tearing my UCL in my elbow, but still was trying to hold on to the same goals I had before, but finding different angles to reach those goals.
Okay.
But yeah, I think from the start, I was going to practice 3 hours a day, and then outside of practice, I was still okay, what can I eat to make me better? How can I sleep to make me better? Everything was structured around it. So when leaving sport, what I think created that fear with that sort of mentality is that, okay, I no longer have this singular goal to be the best athlete possible, after retirement. So what am I doing mentally, really, after leaving?
Yeah.
Yes, I can go towards career mentality, right? And think, okay, what are the steps I need to do to get to my career? But it's so much of a slower process and more of a trial and error. It's not okay, for javelin, it's meters. It's like
Yeah.
how far you throw is how you're good. So it's like, okay, I just need to get 2 feet farther. And to do that, I need to be stronger, be faster, be more rested. But when for your career, it's not like there's like a 1, 2, 3, then you're successful and you're the best. It's a lot more convoluted than that. So it's hard to transition even just how you think when you leave. And I think that's where I struggled, to let go of the singular idea and be okay with a little bit more go with the flow, trial and error of like post-sport.
Yeah, that's so what you said about career, that what's happened to me. I didn't anticipate this, like I didn't think that it was different. So and when I hit the phase,
Yeah.
I realized, okay, it's not the same. So
Yeah, it's not the same, and there are transferable skills, but like you said, it's a transition, it's a shift, and it takes some like becoming different, really.
you have to adapt your mindset a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah. Why do you think so many athletes attach their self-worth with solely their sport?
I think it's, like you said, extremely common. And I think it has to do with the pressures around you, the pressures from your coach, from the people watching you, the culture of sport in general, to only the best players get the attention, only the best get the validation. I mean, you see it even financially, like only the best athletes are getting scholarships, so obviously you are going to want to be the best because you get all of that, those accolades from that. And simply put, to be the best requires more. So if you don't have that like baseline instant success, you are going to put everything you have into achieving that goal. Because
of I will get this, I will get confidence from this.
Exactly.
So it's not about the sport, it's about all you get around the sport.
Right.
And success.
Right. And it's easy to fall, because I mean, when we all first started doing sports, we started it because it was fun for us.
Yeah.
We started it because we liked it. And it's so easy to lose sight of that when you're constantly being compared to the people around you, and when you like are pushing yourself further in sport and get to those higher levels, professional, college, like Olympics, all those things, then it really becomes so focused on how good am I, not how much fun am I having. It changes a little bit like how you interact with it. And even I think a lot of it is that perfectionist piece. I think it's very common to be a perfectionist and then end up in sport, as well as end up in sport and then become a perfectionist. I think they both like are a feedback loop into each other.
Yeah.
And if you are expecting perfection, you have to give everything you have to that, because perfection is unattainable. But because it's unattainable, requires everything of you, requires all your energy, all your power to keep reaching this, because you never will.
Yeah.
So then if you're giving all of your energy to one thing, that is going to be where you gain your confidence. Who you are is how you act and what you're doing every day, what's taking your time. So if, all you're doing is sport, all you are is an athlete. Yeah. And that those wins, the success and the confidence you feel from those wins, is so like tangible in those moments that it's almost like you are constantly reaching for that, wanting that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see that you can get that from other things, but it's going to be more subtle. It's not going to be a huge crowd cheering for you. Okay. It's not going to be like I achieved this specific goal of breaking my PR, winning a game. I think we need to expand our idea of what it means to win and what it means to have success, so that other parts of our lives can give us that same confidence. That is to say, it's easy to allow sport to take all your confidence and have all your self-esteem, because it's an easy place to find like self-worth when everybody's involved.
Yeah, really interesting. And why do you think so many athletes, they see just winning? Like they don't see like, okay, I won this game, or I lost this game, or I failed this workout, something like this. Why they don't like care about this and just want to reach the biggest, which is success, or win the big championship or something like this?
I think sometimes we, with that kind of grit and hard work until you're done mentality, and I don't know if this is like for everybody, but I think for me, it was like, oh, I can be satisfied when I'm the best. I can finally like rest when I'm number one, or when I've achieved that like extremely high standard that I set. And so it's just a never-ending reach for this goal, but you're not acknowledging the smaller goals that you hit to get there. You're just looking at this bigger, like, okay, being the very, very best. And then you lose sight of all the other parts of the sport. Because I think that dissatisfaction with not being where you want to be kind of takes over. Takes over your mentality, takes over where you're at. So being with your friends, being with teammates that you're really close to and have a strong bond with, working really hard just in general can be very fulfilling and fun, but you lose sight of those smaller positives of being an athlete because you think, oh, I'm not the best and I'm not where I want to be, and you constantly increase the stakes for yourself without like being proud of yourself for like where you are currently. There's always something more.
If you can give one simple advice about this on how to see in a different way these things that you don't care and you see just the bigger goal, what would you say to them?
I would say like touching back into why did I start? Why did I start this sport in the first place? Asking yourself that question and trying to hone back into that answer. I mean, for a lot of us, it's because we had fun and because that was something we were good at. Getting back to a place where you are enjoying it. It's easy to, be in that constant reach and then take a step back and realize, oh, I'm not really having fun anymore. Like this is making me feel a lot of stress. But this was also supposed to be where my outlet was, where like I was feeling like I could let off steam from like the other stuff, school or work, the other stuff I was doing. So yeah, getting back to a place where you feel like you can enjoy it again via like gaining perspective of like, this is something that I'm choosing to do. How can I begin to enjoy it again? And also, what are the other parts of it that are important? The social part is important. Getting to know your teammates a little better, being a good teammate, like removing yourself from your own goals and looking at the goals of people around you. Oh, I know that my teammate so-and-so really wanted to hit this mark or was really looking forward to improving this aspect of their game this season. How can I help them? How can I be a better teammate, a better supporter in that? And then that's going to give you so much more purpose in your sport, and bring a lot of pressure off of what you are trying to reach, and kind of bring you back out of what is so easy to get stuck with, like the numbers, the wins, the goals you set. And also too, like I guess the third thing is like really like taking it day by day and focusing on where you are. I read this quote once, or this excerpt once, where we all have the same goals to be great, but some of us are and some of us haven't reached that yet. So what's the difference? It's not the goal, because we all have the same goal. It's how someone's doing it. It's the process. It's the system in which they are like going through their life. So kind of bring it back to the micro like efforts that you're making every single day. Bring it back to how you're like waking up in the morning, which is super specific, but like how can I be the best person right now today, for myself and for other people? And that can also bring you, like, ground you again and bring you back to the reality of, okay, the whole point is to be my best in every aspect. You can be happy right now and proud of yourself right now. Reaching something shouldn't be the reason that you can be happy. Joy is not conditional. Happiness and being proud of yourself is not conditional. You as you are right now without those achieved goals is enough to make you feel like, you know, I'm good enough.
Yeah. That's funny because so my second year as a professional roller hockey athlete, I made to myself this question you said. What did bring me like at the first time I started roller hockey?
Mm-hmm.
And this question made me question about continuing playing professional or not. And I was so scared because this question made me put fear inside me, and I knew that wasn't the thing that I enjoy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how I did it, but I decided to leave my professional career and the sport because as I started questioning what I want to do, because of the thing that, okay, I don't feel happy anymore doing this. I feel so much pressure. I don't enjoy roller hockey anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the need to find find other things to pursue. And it was hard for those people that maybe you are watching right now and you feel like you are in a position where you are playing, but you are not happy. In my personal experience, this is the best decision I ever made because I found myself again and my happiness. So yeah, I just wanted to say this because I feel like it's really important, not only in the sport, after sports, questioning all the time, are you happy? Are you doing what you are truly fulfilled? It's really important because if you are not happy, for me, my way of being and see the world is like, what's the point of living if you are not enjoying what you're doing? So
yeah, I mean, that's huge. And the fact that you were able to see that's this thing that you were doing and putting so much effort into was no longer giving you what you needed and making you happy, and you were able to like be brave enough to step away is huge. And I think so many athletes stay in it because they feel like they should, because they haven't achieved this or this, or that's just
or
what
this all they know.
Exactly. Yeah. You're so right in that if it's not serving you anymore, let it go. It doesn't have to be the right time. It doesn't have to be when you thought you were. All you need to know is that you're not happy anymore, and that's reason enough to pursue a different path. And like you said, knowing it will be hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be so hard. Doesn't mean it's not right. Doesn't mean you shouldn't. Just means that like it's something you're going to have to process.
Yeah. Let's come back to the injuries. Personally, I faced injuries, but not as the degree as you. So when you torn your UCL,
Mm-hmm.
probably you knew that your comeback wouldn't be the same. So how you faced this situation? What you told to yourself about this?
Yeah. I think I wish I had known what you had just mentioned, that I was not going to come back the same athlete. But prior to that, I had a pretty relatively healthy career. And I think I wish I had known that when you get surgery, your body changes. That is a huge, just thing that your body has to undergo, and usually recovery is a rocky road, like ups and downs. It's usually not like if you have a smooth recovery, yay for you. That's amazing, that's what we want, but I think it's common to have it, some ups and downs, and unexpected like turns and twists with that. But I had to pretty much change my purpose as an athlete, especially because when it happened, I was so close to achieving those goals that I thought I finally could be happy with. It was right there. I was about to break the school record, and I would have won our conference that year. And the injury happened at the first week of the season, so it was so close for me to see, to get the results of the hard work of that. So to have it like taken away right when I was about to have it and never get to see the hard work pay off, obviously is devastating for anyone. But it really did make me realize how I didn't have any goals outside of sport, and I didn't really have any hobbies and interests outside of sport, because when I had to take that full step away and get surgery and kind of become isolated in a lot of ways from my team, I didn't have that like foundation of hobbies, interests, confidence to rely on, which is huge during injury. Because not only is that a physical setback where you won't be able to exercise like you normally do, you won't be able to, have the lifestyle that you normally have, but mentally as well. With how connected the brain and body is, your brain's like, what the heck is going on? Like, why are we getting surgery? Like, why are we needing to go through this painful rehab every single week? So in a lot of ways, it was a good reality check for me and made me realize, okay, I need to expand my identity. I need to build my confidence to a place where I can withstand failure, withstand having struggle in sport, withstand like obviously injuries and in times like retirement where I will step away. But with coming back weaker than I had left, I needed to have a purpose in sport that wasn't winning. And for me, it made me realize how much the social aspect of sport mattered to me and how much it impacted me. Not being with my teammates every day was just as bad as not being able to push myself every day to like my goals. So I decided I would come back and be the best athlete or the best teammate I could be. I was just going to be a competitive supporter, and like put all my energy then into helping my teammates and friends reach their goals, which was really, really helpful. It helped me enjoy sport again. It kept me from like skirting the patience needed to let my body recover, because I had something to put my energy towards, being a supporter instead of like trying to push back and get to where I was again. Because when you get injured, it's better to try to make yourself different and stronger in new ways than try to turn back the clock, because there is no turning back the clock. You can't control that you got injured, but you can control coming back stronger and different than you were before in new ways that you wouldn't have seen without the injury.
What would you say to those athletes that they cannot see nothing else? Like they see like, I will not come back as before, and they cannot have this self-reflection of, okay, I have to find different things.
Yeah. Grieve what you just experienced. When you are in that mindset, it's easy to like skip over the sadness, which is completely valid after experiencing an injury. You have lost the opportunity to like I said, like see through your hard work. That is a loss and will have grief attached to it. And if you're hyper fixated on that loss, that means you're probably not letting yourself feel it, because you're holding on so tightly to what you can't see and kind of what is outside of your control. That would be a great time to see a sports psychologist, see a counselor. Don't minimize what you are experiencing. Injury is huge, whether you're an athlete or not. It's an extremely difficult thing to come back from. So, I mean, anyone who's injured, especially an athlete, I would say look into a sports psychologist, look into a therapist, look into some counselor who can help you process those feelings of grief, because they will come. And it's more worth your while to experience them right at the get-go, right at the start, so they don't linger or manifest or turn into something else down the line. With anything like that, it's let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel like, because it is sad, and there's no way around that. Yeah. So process those. Let yourself feel like that.
Yeah, that was really valuable. Thank you for sharing. So, let's talk about the social aspect. When you got injured, how did you feel on those moments with no one in your team around?
It was really tough. I did not feel good, and isolation only exacerbates like struggle, mental struggle, physical struggle. Struggling alone is so much worse, especially when your teammates are most often your best friends. That's how it was for me. All my best friends were on my team. So when I was kind of like sent away to go do my rehab by myself, the joy of everything just kind of like got like pulled away, and then you kind of lose, like you think, why am I even doing this? Like, what am I even coming back for? Yeah. Because like I'm just out here by myself. So my recommendation is always to not do it alone in any capacity. Even if it's hurtful to be around your teammates because they're talking about competition, they're talking about practice, all that is going to be hard as well. So expanding your friend group, go find a club to join, go find a different space, like maybe connect with people at the rehab center you're at. Find people who are also going through injury on different sports teams. That's a great time to expand your horizons of connections beyond your teammates. And so that you're not so surrounded and reminded every day, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, or I'm not with my teammates doing that sport right now. There's also a lot of like online spaces where you can feel like you're relating to something. Yeah. There's this podcast called Sideline Stories that I listened to during my injury, where it just talks about athletes who, had a huge injury, had to step away, and like what they did next, and their stories. And I mean, this, like what we're doing right now, look for this stuff online. There's not as much as we want, but there's some, and there's communities where you can, immerse yourself and make those connections. But that's what helped me a lot. You do have to do some seeking out and some effort in that, but it's worse to do it alone. It'll be way easier doing it with people around you, and the people who already care about you and want to support you.
I can relate to that with my journey after sports. So I felt the same way. On side travel to Australia, I went alone, and it was really hard because I was in a position where I didn't know the basic things, the language, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have a lot of things that you like feel like you will have all your life, you know. And on that moment, I felt completely alone, and that situation was really hard for me because, like you said, living it alone is really, really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And in my personal experience, which is the next question, so once I started to kind of build a life after sports, in my case, I didn't go to college, university. I wanted to pursue things that I don't need it. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. And the journey is a little bit more challenging because you have to go to a jobs that you will find people that cannot understand you. And that was my journey. Like, I spent maybe 80% of my time, of my day, with people that they truly didn't understand me. So what advice would you give to me or the other people that are facing this?
Yeah. And that, I feel like that is also an extremely underrated part of leaving sport. Leaving the people who get you the most, and leaving the people who you literally have trauma bonded with all the stuff that you do as an athlete. I feel like it's hard when you compare the closeness, because it will be really hard to find that type of close relationship again. Yeah. It just will. For me, I have found that it helps to expand what you define as like a good relationship, or define what you expand what you define like a good connection to be. Try to find relatability with people just based on their like pursuit of self-improvement. Just because someone wasn't, an athlete doesn't mean they didn't like work really hard and have this like same mentality that you do to push yourself. So kind of expanding your idea of what it means to like relate and find commonality, and looking at someone in, your workplace or elsewhere and see them as like, okay, this person's working hard. This person has this goal that they're trying to pursue, and that that's what I am doing too. It might take a little bit longer to find these connections. So also being patient with it. Realizing that so many people can have a different purpose for you, and they don't necessarily need to understand what you have done. So maybe finding somewhere else to relate on, focusing more on what you guys are doing now together, whether it's your job or different hobbies that you guys maybe can find outside of your work, whether you guys join like a club sports team together or go hiking or something like that. Actively searching for something new that you guys can connect on, so it doesn't feel like, okay, I'm talking to them about sports in my past and they just don't get it. Yeah. That's somewhat a losing battle when you already feel like it's not clicking. But also being willing to go back to those connections that you had, to your teammates, to the people of your past, setting up a weekly call with one of your teammates or your best friends, being willing to set time aside in your week, your day, your month to go back to the people you feel closest with, because that'll make it easier to work with the people you have around you, because you are constantly drawing back to that like easy connection. So you're not constantly feeling like, okay, every day I feel like I have to work to relate to the people around me to make these connections. Remind yourself that you have people that are in your corner already, and that it's easy to relate to and that know you better than anybody. Yeah. And be willing to make new connections, search for people outside of your space. I feel like this is a huge thing. Like you reaching out to me on Instagram because you saw the stuff that I was doing, and now I know that we have a lot in common. After I retired, I had, his name's Nico. He was trying to start an online platform for retired athletes, and he also reached out to me on Instagram And then we became partners and we started this platform together. It's called Next Chapter Athletes.
Okay.
And we became like really good friends. I still talk to him. He's in law school. If he hadn't have done that, we like, you know what I mean? And that was a huge part of me healing after sport, because I felt like I was working with someone who was also like a former football player, understood me, and we were working on stuff to help athletes. I wrote a lot of things for his blog. So it's connections like that. You don't even realize what they're going to do for you until you get out there and reach out and take that chance, which you did. So I think that's like a great example that you're setting for athletes everywhere. Like if you want to stay in touch with people like you in terms of sports and athletics, like go find them. They want to talk and they want to connect with you too. Odds are. So
I think what you said about seeking relationships in a different way, it's really huge, because that will save me a lot of years. So my mindset of looking for meet new people, it was about, okay, if they don't understand my background, they cannot understand anything.
Right.
So black or white, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that was huge, because once I started to see that they don't have to understand my background, it's just simply we have to find things in common. That was a huge step for me, because that was the time where I let go of my ego, and everything started to change. But also what helped me a lot is you don't have to find people around sports, after sports. In my case, I love entrepreneurship, I love online businesses. So I started to go inside communities and find people like, we have this thing in common. So the easiest way I will say for those people is like, figure out what you like or what you would like to try and join a community, and then that's where I've met my best new friends right now. So that was huge for me.
Yeah. And I love what you said about finding something to relate to someone with and not thinking that like black and white. It's very easy to do so. But there's so many like different kinds of people who can expand your thinking in ways that'll help you move on from your sport.
Yeah, because in my experience, I don't know you, so the way I was aiming to find new people is like, they have to like fuel me in all aspects of my life, you know? Mm-hmm. But what I've learned is like, okay, I can have these people with this, like cover this thing I need, these other people, this thing I need. So
yeah, and that's extremely well said. Like not every person needs to do everything like for you, like check all those boxes of what it means to like feel connected. Everybody serves their purpose. And I feel like I learned that after leaving college too. And just kind of it took a lot of weight off of meeting new people and have in those expectations.
That was really good. Yeah, thank you. If you have had to start over this journey after retirement, what the things would you change?
That's a good question. I think I would have just been easier on myself. I would have given myself more grace and more time to let myself settle after sport. After leaving, I still had that like sense of urgency to get a bunch of stuff done every single day. Because that's how it worked in college, having to go to class and go to practice every day and have a job. When after leaving, like it's okay to have free time. and I was scared of free time. I felt like free time meant laziness. Free time meant I wasn't doing enough, which is so not true.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have free time. I just didn't see that at the moment. So I think if I would go back and, start again. I would slow down a little bit and let those like moments of gap of not doing anything, of having a little bit extra time, let them be tough. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Let them be hard, because I'm not used to that. So obviously if something's new, it's not going to be easy. So I would have wanted to like remind myself, like, you're not going to be comfortable in having the free time, but you need to let it happen, because constantly running away from feeling uncomfortable by filling your time with all this stuff is only perpetuating your like fear of rest and fear of extra time, which is just never a good thing. Like like even after sport, like going to your job, if you don't know how to set time aside to let yourself rest, you're going to be in that burnout cycle over and over again. So when you leave your sport, like, learn how to rest.
Yeah.
I wish I had done so a little. I'm learning now, but I did not have that in the start.
Yeah, for sure that was the biggest thing. Because simply, like you said, my body wasn't used to. So my nervous system, when I experienced different emotions or different things that I didn't have experienced yet, it was like a shocking. So I was running away for these emotions for a long time.
Yeah.
But then as I was healing, I slowly, this is process. In my personal experience, you can know a lot of information about all we are talking about, but every person will live the journey different, and it's okay. So
yes, 100%. It's going to look different for different people. And there's a lot of different ways to run away from the discomfort. It can look a lot of ways. So it is definitely a trial and error with your own habits.
Yeah. What I've learned the most after sport is, so in my career I had fear to not reach professional level, which was my goal. So luckily I reached the goal. But then after sports came to me like that fear of failing and that fear of, try different things and don't get what I want, something like this. And that kept me stuck for a long time. So yeah, everyone is different, and every journey, like, what I feel is like we are talking the key things, but you viewer have to be aware about is different the situation, but the main point will be the same.
Yeah. And I want to pull out like what you just said, that your fear of failure was keeping you stuck, which I feel like is hard to see because it doesn't really make sense off the bat. Of you think your fear of failure will keep you from failing and keep you succeeding, when really it's not allowing you to find success. Like, letting go of that fear of failure is going to be what lets you thrive. So, I mean, I love that you mentioned that, because I think that's huge. That'll linger after sport if you don't begin to break that down.
Yeah, I think the way it's structured, how athletes are programmed throughout the journey of becoming an athlete, is they teach you, like, in my personal experience, maybe different sports are different, but we have to reach certain perfection, otherwise you will not reach the goal you want or win. So, and subconsciously they are teaching you that failing isn't a good thing. Even though when you learn a skill, you fail thousands of times before you reach a good amount of skill, but they don't reinforce that. And I feel like they had to change the way, not the way they teach the things, but the way they share the wins or the losses, so that the athletes doesn't have these problems after?
Totally agree with you. Like changing how we're, like, our perception is of failure, and seeing it as like a learning opportunity, not like something that changes our worth or changes our character or like just kind of baseline self. It's something that we need to expect, and are good things if you see it as like kind of growth mindset. But it's easy to get away from that in sport with how we're talked to about failing.
Yeah. Okay, so you are part of the Hidden Opponent project. For those that don't know what is, tell us about a little bit about this project and what is your role there?
Yeah. So the Hidden Opponent is a mental health nonprofit geared towards helping athletes prioritize their well-being, be able to like gain awareness, education around what it means to have like psychological wellness. And what's really cool about this nonprofit is that it has a program called the Campus Captain Program, where there are like initiatives being put into college athletic departments all over the country, all over the world. My role specifically is a head campus captain, which means I am mentoring a group of 20-ish college athletes who are the campus captains. And the Hidden Opponent is supporting them, putting in mental health initiatives where they're competing.
Okay.
So it's giving them education with like mental health awareness meetings and resources and all of that, but also supporting them run mental health awareness games, run events on their campuses, start chapters. So there's the Hidden Opponent chapters on different campuses, which is essentially like a club for mental health awareness, psychological skills training, or all that sort of stuff. But I am basically a mentor / coach for these college athletes, to help them run things on their campus, and just generally like go through the program, the Campus Captain Program within the Hidden Opponent. But I feel super passionate about this because I know I've seen what impact peer-to-peer mental health initiatives can have when a teammate, like someone who you, like a common person to you, is telling you, okay, this is how you can prioritize your mental health. This is what it looks like to break down perfectionism. It's way more meaningful than having it come from someone you don't know. So it's awesome that this, bigger nonprofit is like trickling down these resources through the athletes themselves, and also empowering athletes to take on that leadership role and bring that to their campuses and be that like voice of this is how we can have a better experience, not only in our sport, but in our lives, by prioritizing ourselves and our mental health. It's been awesome. And it's another thing I would say, like, it's a community I was able to join that helped me, like, not only gain a better experience from sport, but also heal after sport. And there's a lot of ways you can participate in things like the Hidden Opponent. So that's something I would highly recommend people look into and stay connected with. Sure. As a former athlete.
That's amazing. And I feel like all the work you guys are doing, this will pay off after sports. Because all the things we talked about in this podcast, it's because the way we were trained and programmed as an athletes. So that's amazing. Yeah.
I feel like I've gained so much from that, and even like you said, the community building piece of during but also post sport, being able to be around all these former athletes who share the same goal as me, is that, like, the goal being improving mental health.
Yeah.
has been huge. When I am not feeling as fulfilled in my day-to-day life, I can go back to the hidden opponent and the meetings that we have and the people that we like are interacting with and feel like instantly fulfilled, instantly like that pure like joy of like having an interaction where I know we are understanding each other. So it's been a huge part of my life and extremely impactful for me.
That's amazing. I will leave the link in the description for those who are interested. And I just want to say thank you for taking your time for this interview conversation, and I want to acknowledge you for your journey. It's been great to meeting you, and I will leave all the links in the description to if anyone will reach out to her. And the last question, it's talk about what's your goal right now? What's your next step after sports?
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you. This has been incredible. So thank you for prompting this. But my goal right now, I'm actually headed to graduate school to get a master's in sports psychology, but basis is counseling. So it kind of brings my two passions together of athletics and mental health. And I'm getting this degree in hopes to eventually become, a sports counselor and continue to bring resources into the athletic community and support sports becoming less stigmatized with mental health.
Nice.
So yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.